Hi there, Ryan Saddam, Chief Experience Officer at Client Savvy. Welcome back to day 3 of CXPS 2021, the virtual conference. Today, we work on aligning CX with strategy. You probably have some great ideas after the first 2 days, and you're wondering how you're going to find time to get it done. Today is all about fitting CX into your already ongoing strategic efforts. Leading us today is Chandra Storrusten, CEO and Chief Value Creation Officer at Visible Value. Before we get started, I do want to take another moment to recognize and thank our sponsors. We can't do this without you. You've been so great sticking with us through a pandemic year. Really appreciate your continued support. We couldn't do it without you. Be sure, members, to take some time, visit their websites. And if you see one of these amazing sponsors in a breakout room, say hi, get to know them, and say thank you. Those who did join us already for day 1 and day 2, be sure to get your workbook out and ready for today's session. If you've missed one or both days, you can still jump right in. Your CX workbook should be in your inbox, or you can download a copy right now via the link in the Zoom chat. I also want to remind you to sign up for one of the 6 regional in-person events scheduled for 2021. And don't forget to propose the next awesome CX cohort. You can do both at clientexperience.org. Today, I want to take just a few moments to introduce our new CX certification program, the CXMP. This is a beta test year to work out the details, and we're limiting the program to just 12 professionals. I really hope 12 of you will sign up and pave the way for the future CX professionals. The CXMP, or the Client Experience Management Professional, certification will be a way to show the world you have invested in personal growth and development as a CX professional, specifically within the professional services industry. We'll be hosting 9 3-hour workshops for CXMP candidates this year. By attending 6 of these workshops, they're virtual, you'll gain 18 hours of practical CX management training. And if you combine that with a written case study of how you plan to implement CX management in your firm, you'll qualify for the first CXMP certification. If you have any questions, visit clientexperience.org or reach out to us to talk through your specific needs. Now, I'd like to welcome Chandra Storrusten, CEO and Chief Value Creation Officer at Visible Value. Chandra has been part of the CXPS community since the beginning, and those who have seen her speak before know we are in for an engaging session. Chandra will be bringing us aligning CX and business strategy.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you all for joining us today. For the past 18 years, we focused on fostering value creation strategies that really allow organizations to capitalize on those pivotal moments during growth and transitions and transformations like we've all been in for the past year plus. We've worked with clients across professional services and other industries to really help them deliver superior client and employee experiences as authentic parts of what drives them, leading to innovation, the development of sustainable competitive advantages, and consistent outperformance of their competition. And over the years, we've found that leading with intention and being willing to think about things differently are really the keys to driving purposeful change. Before we dive in today, I want to tell you about 2 different professional service firms. Both acquired subsidiaries in the last 2.5 years. Firm number 1 acquired their subsidiary in early 2019. The economy was booming. The acquisition was a strategic and cultural fit. Their due diligence was intentional, it wasn't rushed, and the company provided the same services as the acquirer and served the same types of clients. It really should have been a relatively easy acquisition and integration. However, by the end of 2019, way before the impacts of COVID were felt, the goals for the acquisition were way off track, and that's when they reached out to us. Now let's consider firm number 2. In the middle of the pandemic, they made the bold decision to acquire a firm that provided completely different services in a different market, Due diligence was intentional, but nowhere near as comprehensive as usual, and quite different as it was mostly remote, and integration was almost primarily remote. However, I just had the honor of celebrating with them as they blew away their first year's revenue goals in only 100 days. So what was the difference? What gave firm number 2 and the one they acquired the sense of urgency to really come together, to roll up their sleeves, and to ensure there was no impact to their clients, and share those legacy stories to develop an integrated client and employee experience for their clients and team members, and start to generate an ROI in such a short period of time? What about firm number 1? What led to a relatively easy acquisition significantly underperforming? Well, we did a deep dive into both, and it became very clear that in firm number 1, for both the acquirer and the acquiree, the big picture was fuzzy. It was inconsistent for clients and other stakeholders. Internally, leaders and employees all had different drivers, different motivators, and different intentions. So when they came together to form the new firm, everyone had different ideas of how to deliver client experience and employee experience. There was no driving force to get everyone on the same page, and they wasted months trying to do so. In firm number 2, clients, employees, and leaders in both the acquirer and the acquiree were all united around their common purpose, a fiery passion and commitment to make their communities better. So they had a clear guiding light when they came together, figuring out which projects to chase, how to cross-sell services, and truly design a superior client service experience. Ryan talked on day 1 about how much new revenue can be generated from activating promoters. And these promoters were huge advocates for both the acquirer and the acquiree, and were a significant part of them blowing away their revenue goals in just a few short months in the middle of a pandemic. And internally, when they came together, their employees immediately saw the vision, the reason for the acquisition. They rolled up their sleeves despite the craziness of the pandemic and extra stress, and jumped on board to move the integration forward to benefit their communities. Client experience and employee experience were embedded in everything they did to achieve their goals for the acquisition, instead of being one more thing. How did the CEO get the buy-in to get this done? Andrea said it yesterday, through people, and they had a clear driver. So that's why today we're going to start by talking about what gives you and your team a sense of urgency, a sense of purpose. What guides your intentions and your employees' decision making? What guides the projects you chase and how you interact with clients? How you lead and how you manage employees? What's going to be the driving force behind how you create your actionable business case for CX and create intentional change? Both with the CX work that you can do that gives you quick wins and small returns on investment, and then building on them to self-fund, as Ryan mentioned, long-term sustainable change with a significant ROI. One of my favorite Simon Sinek quotes is, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And of course, this goes for clients, but it also goes for your employees. We were in a talent war pre-COVID. Many of your firms still are, and it's coming back for others. In addition, by 2023, 75% of our workforce will be millennials and Gen Z. And one of their top motivators and reasons for staying with an employer is the ability to feel like they're part of something bigger than just a company, that they're actually making an impact. It's vital to understand what truly drives your firm and why, and have everyone on the same page so you can create and lead the case for change. Firms are typically driven by their mission, their vision, their purpose, or their profit. And many firms say, well, of course, we're driven by all of these things. Unfortunately, this isn't really possible. Your firm is driven by one or maybe two of these things. More likely, you are here driven by purpose and vision, Here by your purpose and your mission, or here by your profit? Depending on the strength of your firm's culture, what you believe might be very different from other leaders or other employees. So how do you really know? Let's look at some examples. Mission-driven companies are led by how they act on their purpose. This could be developing mission-critical infrastructure projects or upholding intellectual property rights internationally. For Tesla, this is to create the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving the world's transition to electric vehicles. Purpose-driven firms are often empowered by their company's values. For example, Procter & Gamble's purpose of becoming a force for good and a force for growth is based on telling stories that truly showcase their purpose and their values. It could be protecting the world's water supply, and your stories, the ones you share, the ones that drive your firm, could be about the habitats you preserve and the millions of gallons of water you've saved. Back to Tesla, their purpose is comprised of their core values, of doing the best, taking risks, respect, constant learning, and environmental consciousness. This guides their employees in making every decision and the innovation they create, and it also attracts their customers. Being the most desired company in an industry or a region for both clients and employees might be the driving force for a vision-driven company. Or being on a list, ENR's top design firms, the AmLaw 100, or perhaps best places to work in your region. One of our clients is bound and determined to win the quadfecta of awards in their industry. This is encompassing their delivering exceptional client experience to their clients, superior employee experience to their team members, developing innovative services that their competition couldn't even dream of, and still surpassing their competition in profit. Now, the passion for profit-driven companies, they're often fueled by achieving a level of profit within a certain period of time. And it's okay to be profit-driven. Money enables your organization to do all sorts of good for your clients, your employees, and your community. So don't be ashamed if, when we're doing our breakout exercises, this raises to the forefront for you. Profits enable and empower your purpose, your mission, and your vision. Profits are clearly not Tesla's driver. They finally made some in 2020, but they've come from selling regulatory credits to other auto manufacturers that don't sell enough zero-emission cars to meet government regulations, not from actually selling cars. So again, how do you know? Like I mentioned, most firms are driven by one or two of these drivers truly. So think about, how is decision-making done at your firm? The projects, the matters, or the contracts you take on? What is the experience like that you provide your employees and clients with? If you had all the profit in the world, what would you do with it? What would other leaders say? What would your employees say? One or two should really rise to the top. Think back yesterday and Andrea's presentation and about your company's legacy stories. Think about those. Which ones rose to the top? Which ones are the most powerful? Going back to Tesla and their purpose of doing the best, taking risks, respect, constant learning, and environmental consciousness, this guides the decision-making of their entire workforce. The emphasis on doing the best and constant learning has driven Tesla to create incredible new technology by encouraging their employees to drive innovations through calculated risks. They are truly thinking about things differently. And regardless of your opinion of Tesla, Elon Musk, its profits, its stock, or their vehicles, we can, based on their actions, see how much Tesla's purpose and mission really drives them. They are thinking about those things differently and changing their industry. And if we want to change our firms and the professional service industry, we must think about things differently to create that compelling, actionable business case for change. So what really drives your firm? If you're still not sure, you can uncover this by talking to leaders, talking to your team members, and you can really discover this through empathy, by truly understanding what motivates everyone. This will vary, but you should find a common theme if your culture is strong. Hold a storytelling session and see what bubbles up. It's important to get this right and really unify your organization around a common thing. It's critical to the long-term success and health of your culture to get everyone on the same page to understand what truly drives you. So now that you understand what truly drives you, or you're on your way to understanding this, what are your strategic priorities? What are your goals? For many of you, this is crystal clear. It's in your strategic plan. It's revisited at least quarterly. Your entire firm can see clearly where they want to go. For some, it's not so clear. Either you haven't articulated your firm's priorities, or perhaps your strategic plan just lives with leadership and employees aren't aware of it, or don't understand it, or aren't bought in. You might not be sure of the magnitude client experience could have on your firm and how client experience might be incorporated into your goals yet. If your firm is one of these, look at how you measure success. What's celebrated in your firm? What's rewarded? What goals help you achieve? What goals could help you achieve? What really drives your firm? These should be a mix of both internally and externally focused goals. So if you're unsure, get your team together and brainstorm. Break out those sticky notes, virtually or in person. Now let's look back at our value drivers from day one. Let's start to bring an actionable plan together. So how do these value drivers that you picked support your strategic priorities? One of your strategic priorities might be to improve employee experience. So you can win the Best Places to Work award. So how do the value drivers you picked support the achievement of this goal? Well, industry research has shown that engaging employees in client experience leads to about a 42% improvement in employee engagement. So if you're a vision-driven firm, and that vision is to be the most sought-after accounting firm in the Southeast for purpose-driven clients and employees, and engaging employees in client experience leads to about a 42% improvement in employee engagement, every leader in your firm should be able to fully support the investment in CX. This value driver clearly helps you achieve your strategic priority and what drives your firm. And this is how we're going to build the case for change. So, are we ready to put this into action? In our breakout groups today, we're going to bring together the head, the heart, and the plan to create that clear business case for CX, fueled by those real-life firm stories, those legacy stories we talked about yesterday, in a way that drives action. And we're going to figure out how to drive the change we want, not only in our firm, but in the industry. So let's roll up our sleeves and practice. We're going to have 2 rounds of breakouts. For our first breakout over the next 15 or so minutes, we're going to break out into about 4 people, and we're going to uncover what currently drives your firm and plot this in your workbook. After that, we're going to get back together and have 1 or 2 groups share what really drives their firm, what motivates everything they do. Then for our second breakout, you'll really bring together the outline of your plan to drive impactful and intentional change, self-funding with those small returns on investment to get to those more substantial ROIs. Then we'll reconvene and have a few people share, and we'll wrap up our time together with some Q&A. So once you're in your breakout group, dig into what currently drives your firm, and this is what you'll leverage to drive change. Look back at those stories from yesterday and think about how you make decisions, what's impactful to your firm, and how you measure success to really uncover your firm's drivers. And we'll pop into the breakouts in case you need any help. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. As I mentioned earlier, aligning strategy with CX really starts with truly understanding what drives your firm. So I'm really excited to hear from a few participants. In my breakout group, we had a great discussion, and I'd love to have Anna share what really drives your firm and how you shared a really powerful story. So I think everyone would enjoy it.
Hey everyone, so I'm Anna Collins. I am with IPS, Integrated Project Services. We're a full service EPC&B firm just based outside of Philadelphia. And we're a company that's definitely driven by our mission and purpose. And our mission is to enable our clients to develop and manufacture life-impacting and life-saving products. So we are primarily focused on the life sciences industry. So the story that I had told at our breakout session was, the reason why we all know we're not driven by profits is because right at the beginning of the pandemic, when things were really just unknown at that time with projects and everything, our leadership had come together and decided that they were going to maintain our close to 1,600 employees and sustain that for several months. No one was going to be, let go or put on hold or anything. So that was, the feedback that we had gotten from our employees was just really amazing. A sense of relief was just, lifted from their shoulders. And so that really solidified the fact that, no, we're not here just, for the dollars. Yes, we want to grow for sure. You have to continue growing, but that's a good thing at the end. So anyway, that was really telling for all of the corporation. And so it was good. We ultimately had a good year as well, but we didn't know that going in for sure.
Yeah. Is that something you shared with your clients as well? Your commitment to keeping everyone on board?
We did. We shared with our clients. We're very engaged in our Chamber of Commerce here locally in Philadelphia. And it was a lot of networking at that time, just understanding what our peers were doing, what other companies were doing. And so, we did share it with associations as well, just to let them know we're not going anywhere. We're going to maintain our presence, our people. So yeah, we did make it known.
Fantastic. That's powerful to make that level of commitment to your team members, your clients, the community. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Let's see. Jenny, Bill Standard, would you like to share?
Sure.
Thank you.
So my company is kind of the more boring answer. After thinking about it, I feel like we'd like to say that we are mission and vision driven, but when I thought about, I work in the marketing portion of the company, and when I thought about what projects we end up chasing and going after, it does whittle down to profit. And then I started thinking about, well, more millennials are coming into the workforce. I can't foresee the company kind of changing to put profit in the background to more of a mission or vision until our clients are more millennials. And then my group kind of brought up, well, wouldn't that still be profit based because you're shifting your mission or vision to make a profit off of those clients? So it was a very interesting conversation.
That's very interesting. Yeah, with the changing demographics of the workforce, it is driving a lot of cultural change for firms and a lot of changes in what really drives them. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you both for being brave enough to share. I'd love to see a quick show of hands for those of you on video or reactions if you're not. How many of you struggled to narrow it down or feel perhaps like maybe there's multiple answers in your firm or you wouldn't get consistent answers? Anyone? Yeah. It really does depend on who you ask and what environment is what of all the external environment is going on. COVID, has definitely made a difference in how people feel. So for those of you that are struggling to come up with one or two things that really drive your firm or think you've got maybe inconsistencies in those answers across the firm, when you get back after the holiday, I really recommend that you start asking people, perhaps hold a storytelling session, collect feedback. Capture it from both your team members, your leadership, your clients, others in the community. Really dig into this and see what themes come up, and discuss those institutional, those legacy stories. See which ones emerge, and you can really start to get everyone aligned on your team. Now we're going to start bringing all the 3 days together. We want to start thinking about all of the great insights shared by Ryan and Andrea, and the opportunities and the value drivers you identified in day 1, those powerful stories from yesterday, and then our thoughts about like what really drives our firms. Let's start to put those into a powerful action statement. So in a minute, we're going to go back into our same breakout groups, and we're going to work on page 9 of our workbook. And this is kind of where the proverbial rubber starts to hit the road. We're going to work together to articulate a sentence that will propel your firm's business case for CX. And don't underestimate the power of getting something on paper. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to be your why. This is going to be your why CX will help you drive this business case to really gain buy-in across your firm, and get those dedicated resources you need, whether they be time or budget or people. This will help you make CX intentional. And we totally agree with Andrea completely. CX is not just one more thing. It should be part of everything we do. So we really need to start thinking about it that way. So in the breakout groups, we're going to get something on paper. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to utilize the parts of the work that you've done over the last 3 days to build this sentence. So we'll include how you can help achieve what you've identified as really driving your firm, or what you think might be really driving your firm. And then your key strategic priorities that we thought about on day 1. And then how you can focus on your client relationships in order to achieve a CX initiative that you've also identified. So think back to those memorable stories from day 2. And then this is how you're going to create that additional value for your firm. If any of you focused on that math, you probably have a pretty significant number there from day 1. So we've got about, let's see here, 15 minutes, no, a little bit more than that. About 20 minutes or so. So we're going to come back at roughly quarter after and share a few sentences, and then have some time for Q&A. So since I cannot stress hard enough the power of getting something onto paper, even if it's going to change, even if you think you're going to leave this and throw it out and start over, no judgment, even if you didn't complete it, I highly encourage you all to get something down on paper. So I'm going to challenge you all to pop it into the chat. And if you want to just put the, instead of typing out the whole thing, if you want to just kind of do the fill in the blanks, that would be great. There's such power to getting something down to drive action. So I'm going to ask Eddie Staley first to share his, since he so kindly allowed himself to be voluntold. Go ahead, Eddie.
All right, I'll give it my best shot. So
Thank you.
to achieve our vision of being the premier multidisciplinary firm, creating inspired places, one person, one project, and one community at a time, and achieve our key strategic priorities of brand excellence, employee growth, and thought leadership, we need to focus with more intensity on our client relationships in order to activate promoters and provide greater value for our clients. To get there, we need to consider a client experience success management program, which will create deep client relationships.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Well said.
That was fantastic. I love it. I love it. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's see here. Morgan, who is in my group, why don't you share your story?
All right. To achieve our mission and vision and achieve our key strategic priorities of awards, client satisfaction, and increase our profit, we need to focus more with intensity on our client relationships in order to price work to value, not what is typical in the market. To get there, we need to consider a client experience success management program, which will create more, I don't have a number, but more value
Awesome.
for our firm.
I love it. So Morgan, Eddie, question for you. Do you think you both can take this back next week to others in your firm to help really align strategy with the CX and help propel the mission forward?
Yeah.
Definitely. I was going to say, I've got a meeting at 4 o'clock. I'm probably going to take it to. So
Yay.
with some thought leaders in the company. So fantastic.
Terrific. Wonderful. So I'm getting a note here. Dennis Dupreet, am I saying that right? Would you mind sharing?
Sure. I don't have it articulated as well as
That's okay.
Eddie and Morgan. I'm getting there, but I got the vision, and we're generally probably closest to a purpose-driven firm, but we're very mindful that when we implement our strategies correctly, the profits follow very closely and very strong. And we're not focused on the profits, we're focused on the essential things we have to do, but keeping in mind that the profits enable a lot of that and it follows. And our 3 strategies are continuous improvement in our operations. We're a civil engineering, environmental engineering firm in New England, continuous improvements in our business development, and continuous improvement in client experience. And we're looking for ways to implement processes around client experience. We have a lot of anecdotal information that extraordinary client experiences lead to extraordinary profits, and they go hand in hand. And we have some people who are great at it, but by and large, a lot of the people are probably average at it. And in our industry, kind of thankful that almost all our competitors are probably poor at it. So we're really looking to gather data from client savvy that we can start implementing processes and systems to help the people who are not extraordinary at it to be at least good and great at it. And I'm confident that a lot of the other things will follow on it. So I'm not so bold yet to tell people how to do it, but I'm looking to get data from client savvy, work with my team and my staff so they can decipher through it, especially the people who aren't extraordinary at it, and start seeing the roadmap through it.
That's great. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head there that a lot of other firms in this industry are not good at this. So kudos to you all for being here. And no matter where you're at in your journey, you're still a step ahead of your competition. Let's take one more. Megan, what would you like to share with us?
Sure, since I volunteered someone else.
Thank you.
We just finished up a client listening program, a survey with Client Savvy too, with phenomenal results. So as you guys have been talking, I think I've realigned my statement at least 6 times, and I'll probably do it at least 20 more before it leaves my office. But I had noted to achieve our profit and mission-driven priorities and achieve our key strategic priorities of client satisfaction and firm growth, we need to focus with more intensity on our client relationships in order to activate on our promoters and increase share of wallet with current clients. To get there, we need to consider a client experience success management program, which will create, roughly 1.4 million of value per year for our firm.
Woohoo! Who else wants $1.4 million?
Right.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. One more quick one. John Reinhardt.
Hi. Yep. I'm here. Yep. Just trying to get off mute. Hello. It's interesting that a lot of similar themes here, which simple seems to be the best and most effective. So you'll hear some common themes here, but to achieve our purpose and achieve our key strategic priorities of profit and client satisfaction, we need to focus with more intensity on our client relationships in order to leverage our promoters, very similar, to build new relationships in order to grow our client base. And to get there, we'll consider a CE success management program, which will create an even $1 million per year in value for our firm.
Awesome. Oh, this is great. I love hearing this energy and excitement. So we shared a lot. We've really tried to bring the head and the heart and the plan together to really create that actionable business case for CX. So what are we going to do next? When we get back after the holiday weekend, we really don't want to lose the momentum. We want to keep going. We want to leverage CX to achieve your business goals. So a couple things to get started. And start by further uncovering those meaningful areas of impacts. You know, we didn't come to this conference with spreadsheets. That's okay. If you need to meet with marketing or finance or HR and gather that info you need, start there. Start getting those. And like Ryan mentioned, even those small numbers are good. Wherever you start's okay. We really want to gain traction. So our CX efforts start to snowball and become self-funding. And then capturing more memorable stories. As Andrea said, these are the compelling reasons why your firm is different that will really resonate with your clients, your prospects, your team members, your community. And these stories will help you gain that buy-in and excitement from your team, and then clarify your firm's drivers. So then we want to take that meaningful sentence that we started to craft and refine it, continue to refine it. Focus on aligning CX with your firm's why, your goals, and your strategy to really get buy-in from senior leadership and across your entire firm. That'll help you get those dedicated resources that you need to build momentum and a sustainable competitive advantage. So Ryan, Andrea, and I really enjoyed being here with you all today. And like I said, I love this excitement. And over the past few days, it's just been really great to hear it and see it. So we'd love to hear from you with any questions or about any challenges you have. So thank you so much, everyone. Ryan?
Chandra, thank you very much. I think the breakouts today were really strong, great conversations going. So I thank you for leading us through that. I think we lost about a quarter of our audience. Zoom kicked a bunch of people out. One whole breakout room failed. Andrea was one of the casualties of that, and she has not been able to get back in. So she's sent me a text and wants me to tell everyone that she thoroughly enjoyed being here as well. And she would be if Zoom would let her. So thank you all for being here. I was so excited to hear so many people report out your kind of one sentence. So what I want to do is put an offer on the table for you. Anyone who emails your results from this week, whether you scan what you hand wrote on these pages, or you transcribe it into a sentence or two in an email, send in your value driver and number, send in just a brief summary of your story and how you want to use it, and send in how CX is going to support what drives your business. And everyone who sends those in, we're going to put your name in, and we're going to upgrade one of your memberships to the professional tier. It's $3,500 value. You get to attend 9 3-hour workshops over the next 12 months. And that also, by attending 6 of those and turning in a CX a transformation case study, you will be one of the first round of CX MPs. So send those in. You can shoot them over to answers@clientsavvy.com, shoot them to me at ryan@clientsavvy.com, either way. And we'll make the deadline for that next Friday. So I think that is June 4th. So get those in by June 4th. And one of you will get upgraded to the professional tier. So I know several of you are in the Triangle area. We're 2 weeks away from our first regional in-person event at Ruth's Chris. I think we only have 12 seats left for that. So if you have not registered, please do that as soon as possible before those limited seats fill up. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I know 3 days and 90 minutes each day is a lot. 4.5 hours in a week is a lot. honored that you chose to spend 10% of your week with us this week, and look forward to seeing you at future CXPS events and networking events and virtual meetings as we go forward. So thank you very much and have a wonderful long weekend.